One abuse survivor says, "The abuse I endured was the easy part to get over. It was the guilt of staying for so long that was the worst part of my healing stage. I blame myself for not being strong enough to move on sooner." So many survivors of abuse feel this way, like they can't get past this hump of feeling guilty, of feeling like they blame themselves, like they were stupid or foolish for staying so long, or that they were weak for not moving on sooner. The reason why they are stuck is because they are still with an abuser. But now the abuser is not their husband or their mother, it is themselves. They are failing to parent themselves. You are not being kind to yourself by blaming yourself and holding yourself in derision for the mistakes, as you see them, of the past. You're being like the narcissistic mother to yourself who has a daughter that got assaulted and then she blames the daughter. What were you wearing? What did you say? What did you do that brought this on? This is your fault. You don't want to victim blame, but that's exactly what you're doing here. So snap out of it and start reparenting yourself, and you'll get past this healing hump. So instead, what are the kind words that you could say to a daughter who just got out of an abusive relationship? And she says, "Was I foolish? Was I stupid for staying so long?" Perhaps you would reassure her and say, "You might have had good reason why you stayed, as long as you stayed, because you're not a person that just jumps ship. Maybe you were following your principles of loyalty. Maybe you were trying to be driven by duty. You were trying to give the person a chance, a second chance, a third chance. Maybe you believed in change. Maybe you believed the lies that you were being fed. Maybe you were lied to or misinformed in the first place." So no, you did not do something wrong by being in a relationship, by giving it a chance, by investing, by making a investment and taking a risk. That's not wrong. So you don't need to feel guilty. And this blaming stuff, we don't blame. We don't blame. Blaming is a low-level way of thinking in which a simple-minded person needs to find someone to hold responsible for something in order to make things compute in their head. But in real life, situations are complicated and nuanced, and there's not someone that you can just directly point the finger to. And if there's anyone that we can blame for an abusive relationship, it would be the abuser. And since you are not the abuser, you are not to blame. So it makes no sense to blame yourself. That's the way you should be talking to yourself. You need to reassure yourself and dignify your choice and your decision to stay as long as you did, because in the end you did leave. And that's what you need to focus on. I got out. I did leave. When it came down to it, I left. Don't focus on every moment that you didn't leave. That doesn't make sense. You did leave. So commend yourself. Good job. Commend yourself. Be that kind mother, not a narcissistic, abusive mother to yourself, and that will allow you to finish your healing journey. If you want to learn more about healing yourself, you can enroll in my healing school and/or book a one-to-one session. I do live meetings every week that I allow the public to come into for students that are healing. They're on right here on TikTok Live and on Zoom, 7 o'clock Mondays and Wednesdays Central, 8 o'clock Mondays and Wednesdays Eastern Time.